Today's session will be using custom action, and that is Apex. So we have three or four custom actions we can use, but today we'll be using Apex, and I'll show you that in real time by building an agent. So without further delay, I'm going to the next slide. My introduction. I'm 11x certified Salesforce architect. I am a blogger at salesforcediary.com. I'm a active community contributor. Currently, my rank is 35, but it varies day to day. And I'm a speaker at meetup events and some Salesforce groups. So that is overall about me. Now let's discuss about today's agenda. In couple of slides, we'll discuss about Agent Force overview, and then we'll show how agent works and what agents can do. We'll discuss about the difference between Einstein's bot and agents, and we'll discuss couple of real world use case scenarios and how agent can be utilized in our real world. And then we have a demo, or you can say working session. I'll build an agent from the scratch, and we'll look into that, the different components of the agent and what needs to be configured and all this. At the end, we'll discuss about some considerations and best practices while building an agents. So yeah, let's go into the first overview of the agent force. So discussing about the agent force, it is a buzzword right now in Salesforce, even in today's TDX event, right? Agent force is the focus from Salesforce end. So if you consider about the definition or general explanation of agent force, we can say it is a platform that allows you to build, customize, and deploy the autonomous agents, which is not a simple agent but AI agents for various business functions. And it could be your service related agents, your sales agents, marketing agents, and so on, right? So right now it is generally available, and for all of the clouds, Salesforce cloud, we can build agents. Now discussing about the timeline, it was announced in the Dreamforce 23, which was held on September 23. So Salesforce announced this some general, you know, uh, general availability. I mean, they just started announcing Agentforce from that, and then Winter 24 they have run this pilot program for different selected customers. So OpenTable and some other customers are there where they ran this program. Spring 24 they have general availabilities for Agentforce with some expanded features like case routing, and they have some AI powered responses and live agent assistance and all this. And summer 24, they added some more capabilities to agents. Until now, they are keep adding some other capabilities or enhancing that further. And recently in December 17th, they announced Agentforce 2.0, which is now having enhanced features like Slack integration. We have different channels to deploy the agents, so we can deploy it in on WhatsApp, Slack, on communities, and some other options are available there. And also they have some advanced reasoning capabilities. Now it is running on the latest reasoning engine. And February 25, it has a general availability for most of the orgs. And if you are buying a license, you'll be able to access the agent force as well. And also we'll see in the TDX 25 event, they announce one free org for the developers. So we can discuss about that once we start with the demo. Okay, so this is the timeline, and now if we talk about the building blocks of the agent. So if you see on the left side, we see the agent's topics, instruction, and action. This is what you see on the front end while building an agent. Whatever there in the right side, the reasoning engine, LLM, and the security layer, which is part of the building block, but you won't be seeing that in the front end. It is running back end, and it is doing all of the calculation, all of the reasoning, and routing and all of those things in the backend. So let's talk about agents. If we talk about agents, right, we have normally in our day-to-day life also, right? Agents is something that can assist us in certain ways, right? So the same thing here, but it is AI agents. So it is autonomous and it will work, and it will expand the capabilities of human, whatever the general definition of agent, right, that applies here also. It can perform a business task on behalf of the user, right? So if you are a user of Salesforce and you want to have certain tasks to be done by agents, you can configure that. And also, you can automate certain things. We'll discuss that into the details. So agents is consist of two things. One is the topics and one is the actions. So under the topics, right, we'll have the category of the action, right? So when you define a topic, you have certain actions you can combine in one topic, and it will also create a boundaries. So topic, when you define a topic, it will, you can say the agent that what things needs to be done by that agent, and what agent should not do. That is also important while building a topics. So topics have a specific field called instruction. We'll show in the demo. It is a required field. You have to put value over there. So whatever the instruction you have to give to the agent, it defines the boundaries or guidelines for that specific agent. So agent will react or act under that specific boundaries or that specific instructions only, whatever you specify over there. And the actions is the main component, I would say, right? So whenever you have a flow apex or prompt template, you can define that as action, right? So from the action, it could be API call out, it could be a DML, insert, update, delete in your object, or it can be just retrieving the information. Let's say I want to see my order status. So it will retrieve all your order status. So that all belongs to the actions, which we can define under the agent. Now, behind the scenes, there are a reasoning engine which will be active all the time. And right now, Agentforce is using Atlas reasoning engine, and it works with the LLM, right? So it will help to find and launch the right topics. So whenever some some user type in something, it will just map that particular thing with the right topic, and then ultimately the topic will map again it with the actions. So which actions need to be taken and which topics needs to be considered for that particular user's request, that that is done by the reasoning engine. And behind the scene, we have LLM. So LLM is kind of the it will help us to organize the data through the prompts, right? So in backend, it will run, and it's like a general AI use case, right? When we have something on ChatGPT, it will uh, take this to the LLM model, LLM, and it will process it, and it will give us the response. Now, in this scenario, in Salesforce Agentforce, the LLM between the LLM and our actual data of the customer, there is a security layer, and we have Salesforce has a zero retention policy. So whatever the data of the customer, it won't directly go to the LLM, but it forgets it. So there won't be a case like some customer is saying that, okay, I have a customer's information. That information should not be disclosed to any other customer, or should not disclose to go globally, because we are using LLM. So that won't happen here because we have a security layer and zero retention policy here. Okay, so now if we discuss about the arrangement of these building blocks, right? So first are the agents. So we have multiple agents. Salesforce gives us this Einstein Copilot by default, and then depends on the licenses. We have sales agent, service agent, marketing agents, and also we can now capability to download the agents from the App Exchange. So all of there are the agents which are all directly connected with the topics. So let's say if you consider service agent or sales agent, it will have multiple topics inside that. So topic is nothing but, again, if we go back to this slide, right, it is a categories of actions related to particular job, right? So if I want to create a order, of if I want to create a case using Agentforce, I should define a topic for that particular uh, uh, task, right? And then topic will link to multiple things. One is the description and scope. These are nothing but the specific information that we have to provide to the topic. So it should create a boundaries, it should create a guardrails, and it the agent can perform according to that boundaries, or particular that scope only. uh, and we have a instruction, so it is again tied up with the scope and description. So the same thing, it will it will tell the agent that what things they need to do and what things they need to avoid. So considering one example, if I say in the topic as an instruction, if I'm saying that do not disclose name, or maybe do not disclose the amount while showing the orders, right? So it won't disclose that order amount in the user screen when they ask for the order status. It will just show the order status. Or if I can say that do not show canceled order, sorry, do not show delivered order unless the user is asking that. So that also can be possible using the instruction. And then they are connected with the data libraries. So data libraries have again two things. One is the knowledge base and one is the file upload. So you can upload any file, and then that file can be processed in the backend using the data cloud. So that indexing, segmentation, all will done in the backend. As long as you upload the file, it will start the process in the backend, and then it actually talk through that PDF. Let's say if it is a PDF of policies, cancellation policies of a of a booking, right? It will go through that PDF, and it will read all of the information. It will store, index it, segment it, and whenever is if customer is asking for a cancellation policy for specific membership, it will retrieve that information and give back to the user. If you're talking about the uh, topics, right? So one part is we have this description, scope, and instruction, and other part it is connected with the actions. So whenever there is a topic, there is an action tied up with that, and we can mention in the action instruction that which action needs to be taken when user's input is this. So we can say that if user is asked to create a order, we can execute this apex action, or we can execute this flow action, right? So that is mapped over there. We'll show into the details as well. And specifically, actions are having two types: standard actions, which Salesforce will provide by default, and we can build custom actions using Flow, Apex, and Prompt template. And we'll focus on Apex today. So building a custom actions with Apex, that is our main focus in today's session. Okay, now talking about how agent work, right? So when let's say we have one use case, or we want to implement an agent, right? How we are curious to know how it will work, right? So it work based on what they know and what they can do, right? So when you configure an agent, you have to tell the agent that what needs to be done. That is basically action, and you have to tell that what the information they should get, right? So while working with the customer's order information, they should know the customer, right? So you can have the first action is retrieve the customer record, or the client record, or the contact record based on the email address or order ID. So it will know that this is the customer, and then it can perform the different actions on that particular record. So, and they work independently. They works with the LLM to dynamically select the topics. So, as I mentioned before, when when there is a task to select a topic and the action, the LLM would work with the reasoning engine, and it will define the topics for that particular uh, particular use case. And also it matches. So this is the general thing, but the step by step, if you think about how agent works, so it first matches whatever the user type in, which we called as a event maybe, right? So it matches that event, whatever is happening from the user, and it matches that with the topic based on the topic description. So in every topic we have certain description. So let's say for create order topic, we would have a description like create an order for this customer. If for it's regarding the case creation, we can say that it is the topic is to case or create a new case. And if it is a retrieval or uh, get method somewhere written over in the Apex class or in the flow, we can say that this topic just get or retrieve the customer information based on the email address or based on the order ID or something. So basically, it match the topic with the topic's description. And then the second step is agent uses the topics instruction, what is written in the instruction of the topic to identify and launch the action. So instruction is generally used to set the boundaries, and I also tell the agent that which action needs to be launched based on the instruction. So that will be the second step. And once it identifies the action, right, the action uses agent uses the actions to perform a task. So it could be anything. It could be a DML, it could be API, it could be a prompt template, or anything that we want to achieve. And actions have their own instructions as well, and that we'll see. Even the variable that input and output in under the actions would have a description, instructions that we have to match with the particular action. We'll see in the detail, but if we talk about the instruction, it is very important field. It's a required field, and ideally we should not leave it blank, or I mean, it won't allow to leave it blank, but we should have proper instructions for topics and for actions as well. Now, if we talk about, uh, sorry, yeah, if we talk about difference between Einstein bot and Agentforce agents. So if we you configured Einstein bots before, right? There would be a common questions in your mind that what is the difference between both, because in the front end side, when we deploy the agents on the community, it is kind of a bot, like, if you see the UI and everything, it's kind of similar as a bot. And we would have this Einstein bot configured previously, right? So bots are okay on that part when Agentforce was not available, right? So we can have even Einstein bot has some intelligence, right? But it is not like that much deeper in terms of the AI that Agentforce is doing. So it has a scripted replies, right? So if you configure the Einstein bot, it has a lot of if and if condition. You have to specify what should be the reply if user asks this and all this. So it is a scripted reply to the user's query, and it is suitable for straightforward and transactional interaction. Like, okay, what is my NPN score, right? So it will just give you the score. So for that kind of jobs, Einstein bot is fine, but Agentforce is have engaging conversational methods, right? So it can talk like a human. So since it is working with the LLMs, right, it can talk with the human, and it can understand the different words and different tones of the language and all this that agent Einstein bot cannot do. If we consider about how they process the intent, it is limited in case of the Einstein bot, and it is very limited to predefined dialogues, right? As I said, it is scripted. But in terms of Agentforce, it is built on LLMs, so it is more effective, and it will give you the relative answers, right? I mean, a contextual answer. If you talk about, let's say, tomorrow, it will just find out what is the date for tomorrow, and it will just use that as a prompt and all this. How they are built, so that also they are differ. So they built on the simple intent model, and it it follows the hard-coded dialogues, and it required extensive settings for setup for training. Uh, in terms of Agentforce, it builds on LLMs, and it trained on vast data, right? So you do not need to train the Agentforce; it is already trained. I mean, as long as you start conversing with the Agentforce, it will give you the more and more kind of refined answers. And it can ask if you miss something, right? It can ask you, okay, if you provided an email address, it seems like it did some mistake on your email address. It will say that this is not a correct email address. So that can happen because we are using LLMs in the back end of the Agentforce. So that is the main differences. And now, if we talk about some real world use cases, right? So let's say we are talking a lot of things about Agentforce. Everyone in the Salesforce now it is talking about the Agentforce, but what is the actual real world use cases? So if you consider, if you are a so these use cases, I'm talking about something who is working in the Salesforce org. We are not talking about the external users, but yeah, it can be applied to external users. So this use case is for only the Salesforce user. We can see how the external users can leverage using the Salesforce Agentforce as well. But let's say if you are a financial advisor, you are using a financial service cloud. There are a lot of customer and clients over there. So you want to find out some email eye-catching email for your investor. And if you give this prompt, just saying that, okay, I want to find the high net worth clients based on their portfolio performance, and if they have a minimum risk. So you have to run through a lot of reports, and maybe you have to query certain things and all this. But if you just write this prompt as a financial advisor, through Agentforce, it will perform certain reasoning things. It will analyze the data, and it will give you the name of the customers or name of the clients which are actually high worth in terms of the worth, in terms of the wealth, and they have minimum risk, and they can suggest a personalized email template or maybe email write up as well. So you can just use copy and paste, or you can directly send it from Salesforce. So that Agentforce can do. So how in entire this problem statement and retrieving this solution for a financial advisor, it will use certain topics, right? So first topic could be find out it could be a get apex or something. So you can write apex or maybe a flow that would retrieve the agents which is having the high worth, right? And then it can be some reasoning things will be also performed on that based on the previous interaction. It may be the email communication about the clients nature and all this, and it will give you the state personalized email that you can directly use it. So it will take a lot of things easier for the life of financial advisor. uh, that is the one use case. If we consider about another use case, if if you are, let's say, the bookings or reservation system you are running in Salesforce, right? If you are a resort manager, and you have certain policies, right? So this is the use case in terms of the customers and users end. So how they can use the Agentforce, right? So let's say we build an agent that will talk through the PDF of cancellation policies and membership. So cancellation would be maybe on the membership type, right? So if you are a gold member, you could cancel up to 5 days. If you are a silver member, you can cancel up to 15 days and all those. So that is written in the PDF. You just upload this data as a data library in the Agentforce topic. And then once you build that agent who can talk directly with this PDF, you have to build the topic and the actions the actions would just retrieve the information from this PDF. So this all of the things will run in the backend in the data cloud to segment this, to index this, and give you the analysis of the PDF, but your agent, once it is there, and if you deploy it to, let's say, customer community, or if you deploy it to WhatsApp, right? Then the customer and the other end will just type in what are the cancellation policies. So it will ask for maybe the member ID. If they provide a member ID, it will find out, okay, this member is a gold member, so this is the cancellation policy it will apply to them, right? So in this case, it is a facing end user facing, and we have eliminated everything in between in terms of the live agent, right? So the chat will directly go to the agent, and it will just interact with the PDF. It will find out the appropriate answer, and it will send it to the customer, the end user. And also it will provide accurate responses. If they say that, okay, I want to inquire about extra thing, let's say not about the cancellation policy, but what is the you know early check-in policy, or early check I mean late checkout policies, right? So if it is written in the PDF, it will just talk with that PDF, and it will send that responses without a human interaction. So that is the use case number two. If we talk about third use case, which is case management and live agent hands-off. So this is a post-sale activity, right? Or maybe you can say support agent, where in ideal scenario, in the traditional way, right, it will work with the live agent, means the human. But now if we have considered the agent force, we can deploy the AI agents. The work, how they work, how the agent for work here is, let's say, you know if there is a patient record, we are talking about health cloud now, right? So consider a health cloud scenario where there is a patient who is asking for the billing information, or maybe they can ask about the scheduling an appointment. So all this work that right now humans are doing mostly, right? They can talk with the patients, and they can say what is the a preferable time for the appointment, and this is your billing history. They can fetch it from their records and all this. So these we can use, we can convert it using the agent force. So agent force in this scenario will able to handle your patient's query, right? So if they are asking for scheduling an appointment, even the agent can check the provider's availability based on the given time frame from the patient. They are saying, I want appointment next Friday between 2 to 3. It will check if that provider is available at that time. There is no conflict. If such things is meeting the criteria, then it will schedule appointment. Or it will say that, okay, this time the agent is not, I mean, the provider is not available, so you can just select a different time. Also, it will consider if you give in instruction, right? Do not schedule appointment on Saturdays and Sundays, or just consider only work days. So it will identify those things. If somebody asks to create a, let's say if somebody says next 5 days, and next 5 days is Sunday, right? So then it will consider that this appointment cannot be scheduled because it is not a work day. So these kind of reasoning things agent force can handle. And obviously this, and if we are talking about checking the provider is available at that time or not, right? So that will obviously happen through the Apex or maybe the flow. It will query the appointment object or maybe the event object, and it will check if that particular provider is present at that time or not. So that all of this human interaction things that can be handled by the agent force without actually involving human in between. Okay, so our next slide is for the demo, and we'll start to build one of the agent. Here are two links. One is to the Trailhead module. I'll show you that link in a couple of minutes. And one is to create or sign up with the developer org with the agent force. So this link, they recently announced on the TDX event, where if you log in within 45 days, every 45 days, right? If you continue log in within 45 days, it will the org will be keep activated, and you can use that agent force org for lifetime. And this is the trailhead org that will show in couple of minutes. Okay, so now going back to the Salesforce screen for the demo, I'll start from the agent. And before that, this trailhead link, right, which I was talking about, I will keep that in the description. So this is all about how to start with the agent, right? We have to configure or enable the Einstein setup and all this. So this is written here. I have already done, so we are not going into that detail. And before moving into that live demo, I just want to show this link. So now going into the Salesforce, if you click on setup and type in agents and click on the agents, you will find out your existing agents here. Okay, and today we are going to build a new agent, right? So I'll just click on new agent, and we have a couple of options here. One is the service agent. One is this agent is for setup, and this is for service cloud. But you can have different agents like sales agent and marketing agents and all this based on the licensing. Right now we have only two available in this org, so I'll just go with the service agent. The next screen will ask you to bring in the the standard or out of the box topics from the Salesforce end. So it depends on you whether you want to bring these topics in your agent or not, right? So this will be uh, given by Salesforce, and if you add these, let's say you add a case management, it will come along with the actions, right? So whatever the actions required for the case management, it will just bring both of the topics and the actions. So if you want to add, it is by default added. If you want to remove, just click on those buttons and it will be removed. I'm removing all of them because for now we are going to show a demo which will create an order. Okay, so I'm removing everything. And now the next step, if we have to specify few things for the agent, right? So first is the name. I will say that a build agent for creating an order. So I'll say that service agent for creating orders. Okay, for creating orders. Okay, this is my agent's name. You can give whatever the name you want. The description is very important field, and it should tell. Here it is already mentioned, right? The goal you want to define for this agent, right? So your goal is to create an agent, create an order. Once user give the give the details of product and quantity. Okay. Okay. So this is the description for this agent. You should try to elaborate this as much as you can. And then the role of this agent, it's kind of what the agent should be doing, right? So it should be capable of creating orders. And if you have multiple topics in this agent, right now we are showing this for one particular demo, right, to create an order. But if you have multiple things in your topic, you can in your agent, then you can define multiple things here. Let's say creating an order, creating a case, retrieving order status, so on, right? So this our role is creating an order. And before that, right, if you think about the sequence, right, we should identify the customer, right, who is going to create order, right? So I would say identify the customer or the client, and then uh, you have to list the products, right? So that customer can select the list of the products, and it can specify the quantities, and then it will be capable of creating orders once it has that information. So this is the role. The company, you can mention whatever your company is doing. So I'll just say we are a retail company. I would say computer software and hardware company. Okay. Okay. So then it will identify. like who could be their potential users and all these for certain reasoning things. The agent user is very important field, so it is same like the flow. Whatever the running user behind these entire agents and the operations or the actions that the agent will perform, it will show the last modified or created date by that username. And this should be configured with the proper permission set and all this. So I've already configured this. So I'm not going into that detail, but this is my user that I configured, so I'm selecting this. You would have option to create a new agent user as well. And every time if you create a new user, you have to configure it again for the permission sets and um, that's that sort of assignment so it can work properly. I'm selecting my existing user and then I click on next button. Here it will ask you to load the data libraries. So data libraries is nothing but your files or knowledge articles. Uh, right now I'm giving it a default because we are not going to use data library, but just to describe the use case, I'll go and select any new library. Okay, so what it will do is it will show you two tabs, knowledge and file upload. So file upload is simply your PDF or Word file where you could have, let's say, your company's policy, and then once agent asks about your policy, the agent will talk to that PDF. It will do the reasoning thing in backend in the data cloud, and it will give the certain outputs. And the knowledge article is the same thing, but yeah, we are not going to discuss that in detail today. So I'm just going with the default thing and I'll hit on the create button. So as long as I create, it will generate an agent and it will redirect me to the screen where we have to specify the topics. Okay. So the topics is nothing but it's kind of library of the action where you can ask user to agent to perform certain actions, right? So I'm creating a new agent, new topic. These have two options again. One is you can select from uh, previously built topics, right? So this is again they are calling it as a library, and the previously we saw as a data library. So these two are the different things. This library means your previously saved topics, right? So we are not selecting anything from the previously selected. I'll go ahead and create a new topic. Okay, so the topic label you can give any topic name, right? So I'll just say that order creation or create an order. uh, the classification description, it should be one or three liner where it should define or determine if you hover over this little I button, it will show you what it should be, right? So it, based on the user's intent, right, we should have to define this classification description. So for our thing, right, we are going to perform certain things here, right? So one thing we can say that this agent can help. Okay, so yeah, I'll say that when user asks for placing an order, right? Placing an order, create a new order with the products, right? So create a new order with products. Okay. So this is my classification. It will help agent to work with different mapping based on the classification. And then I would say the scope is simply the create an order, right? So we are going to create an order as part of this demo, right? So create an order and it should be with products and also the quantities, right? Okay, so I'll say that create an order with product and quantities for the scope, right? So scope is kind of what the agent should do in this particular execution, right? So if you want to, this particular topic, there could be maybe certain actions that will allow to create a case. You can define that as well. The instruction is a very important thing here, right? So you can give as much as instructions, but ideally it should not exceed the nine instruction per topic. So if you click on add instruction, it will just keep adding the uh, new text area field to define the instructions. So instruction is nothing but it's a guardrails, and also it will help to execute the certain actions, right? So here what I'm saying is, if user, I'm just building this together because I already, practiced this before. But as long as you progress, right, you can create one instruction and then you can create action. Again, you can come back to create a instruction, and then you can save it and create a new action for that particular instruction. So it will help the agent to organize the actions, whatever the sequence and whatever the uh, this normal language. It is not a programming language or anything, right? It's just a simple language that agent would understand, and it will arrange your actions execution based on this instruction. Also, you can define if somebody put tomorrow, then convert it to, I mean, that maybe it will understand by its own because it is built on LLM, but you can specify a few things, like you should not disclose salary of the employee if somebody asks, and all those sort of instruction you can specify here. For now, I have added this instruction in the same field, but I can separate it. So let's go one by one, right? If user asks to create an order, first thing is to ask email address, right? Or maybe the member ID or something, right? Because we have to identify the user who is going to create a user, right? So this is the first instruction. Maybe you can split it from here, or you can combine two or three sentences or instruction together, and then you can separate the other one. So let's go that way. And once they provide a email address, get the contact ID from the identify customer by email action from the email address and pass it to the get product list details action to list the products. Okay. So up to this, there are two actions being called. Okay. I'm just separating this from here and I'm placing it in the another instruction. So what it is saying is, when we ask to a customer to place an email address, it they will give, and we'll call these actions. This is nothing but the flow action, which will identify the customer based on the email address, and I'll show you that flow. And then once that email address is there, right? I mean, the customer is identified. Let's say it's a contact ID, right? Then we are passing that contact ID and we are retrieving the product details. So I mean, we can retrieve the product without contact ID as well, but if the contact exists, then only we want to execute this action. So this is again a flow action, which is pretty simple flows. I'll show there's two flows one by one, and then we'll go into this detail. Okay, so this is the flow to retrieve the uh, second, yeah. Yeah, this is the flow that says identify customer by email, right? It will just get in the customer record and it will retrieve the contact details and it will do the assignment. And the other flow is get product by uh, that get the product list, right? So if the context is there, means that contact ID is not equal to null, then only we are going to get the product list. So this we are doing to reduce the execution of this get action. If the context is exists, then only we are retrieving the products, and then we are again assigning this to the variable, and this is the variable that we are going to map in the action. Okay, so I'll show you that in detail. But yeah, this is the simple flows that we have created, and based on that flow we are trying to connect it with the agents. Okay, so this is the instruction. I have covered two actions over there. Both are the flow actions. And now the third one we are going to build with the Apex class, and which will I'll show from the scratch how to build. I mean, the Apex class is already built, but I'll show how to create actions using the Apex class. Okay. So this is the another instruction that as users ask user to select the product and quantity. So once we have executed this action, right, as part of this action, it will list the products in front of the customer, right? So whatever the active products inside the system, it will just show those products to the customer. And then the next instruction is ask user to select product and quantity. Obviously, quantity is required. So they will select the quantity along with the product and then pass this entire thing, product ID and the quantity, to this action basically, right? So this is an action where we'll be connecting it using the Apex class invocable methods, and it will be responsible to create an order. Okay, so this is my another instruction, and maybe you can separate this instruction from this line. And what is the next instruction is ask user to provide the product and quantity to be ordered, uh, and then create an order with the provided product quantity under the customer's account. So where to create a order under which account that we are specifying here under the customer's account, right? Because we have identified that customer using the email address in the previous part. And then return the order number to the users when order is placed, right? So we are telling the agent that once everything is done, and if you successfully place the order, right, then it should uh, so here we are saying, right, when the order is placed, right? So when it is successful, it will understand this language, right? So when it is successfully placed the order, it will just show the order ID to the customer. Okay, and then we don't need this, so I'm deleting this. So this is all our instructions for creating an order, and I'll go ahead and hit the next button. So here for actions, right, we will have the previously built actions. Some of them are out of the box from Salesforce and some of them are customly built, but we are not touching this. We are not going to use that for now. I'll show you to create new actions for that Apex class that uh, we have created, and we want to create a new action. So now my topic is created. If I go into that topic, it will be the same parameters that I've provided. All of these things are same. Okay, and then if I'm saying that okay, one second, yeah. If I'm saying that if I need to mention the action, right? There are again two options. One is create an action from the scratch, or we can use the existing actions. Okay, so for this Apex class, this third one, I will go into this first and second. Ideally it should be in the sequence. So yeah, let's go one by one. Okay, so for these two actions, first and two, right, which is identify customer by email, this is a flow action which I showed you. This is the pretty simple flow. And another one is uh, in the same instruction, we said that get product list details section, right? So this is again the another flow, which is get products a list, right? So how it is being mapped is once you define a flow, you have to mention these things in the flow definition, right? So when you create a flow, you have to add the description in that flow that will help to identify which flow is being called. And then for the parameters also, right? This is the contact record, right? So we are saying that this is the description. So description is important here because based on that, it will map it with the input fields and output fields, right? So this is my output parameter. I'm selecting here as output. This is yeah, this is yeah, get record customer, get contact from the customer record, and this is my another variable's email address, right? So this is available for input. So whatever you mention here as a variable, you have to specify the description, and then this description will map with the action. Okay, so for this one, the flow one, we are going to create a new action. So I'll just save this and I'll go into the topic and try to build a new action. Okay, so once I'm in the topic, I have to click on this topic section. I'm creating a new action and I will link that action with the flow. Okay, so what I'm saying here, it should be a flow. Okay, now once I select this, it will give me the list of the flows which I have already defined. So our flow name is identify customer by email. I'm selecting this. It will ask me to provide the label and the API name of this particular action. So this is the name of the flow. This is the name of the action. Don't get confused between those of both of them. And once I click on next, this is our agent's action instruction, right? So what action instruction it should follow? We have to define it, right? So we are saying identify or pull customer based on the email, right? Based on the email. So it will be capable of doing pulling the customer once we provide the email address. This is the loading text. You can say please wait or something. So while processing, it will show this text. And then here is your input parameter on the left side, output parameter on the right side. This is nothing but whatever we have defined as the variables in our flow, right? So if I go into this flow, these are our resources or variables, right? So this is the contact record. This exact description will match over there. So once you add the flow as an action, right, it will just bring this description and it will map this with the input and output parameter. So that's why the description is important here. And also this input and output available for input and output is also important. Okay, so I'm selecting those two things. Uh, it will be auto selected basically, right? And then you have to specify the instruction. It will be auto populated there, but if you have to change, it should be same across here and the and under your flow. And then you can define the data type. Mostly by default it is selecting it, and then you have the rendering output here for the output variable, right? So this is your contact record, so obviously it should be object and it won't allow you to select any other thing here. But these two checkboxes are important. So if it is required for the input, right? So yes, right? Because we need an email address to execute that flow. And also it asks that another thing that should be asked is to collect from the user, right? So ideally, yes, right? Because the email address we are going to ask to the user. So we have to select these two based on the logic, right? What you are going to do with the agent and the customer or the user, you have to select this. And same on the output side, this field says that filter from agent action, right? So if you want to filter out this particular output from the agent action, you can select, otherwise you can leave it. And if you want to see show this contact record, I mean this output parameter in the conversation while talking with the user and agent, you have to select it. But I'm not going to select because we are not going to show that contact record in the output conversation, right? So I'm just unselecting both of them and click on finish. Oh yeah, so we have to select at least one. So that's why I'm selecting one. So out of, let's say we have four parameters, at least one should be selected as showing that in the conversation, right? So I'm selecting yes, and then I have already this build before, so it says that API name already exists, and I have to select another one. So maybe I have to go back from now, and I'll select the existing one. But this is our agent that we build, identify customer by email, right? So this is pretty simple action connected with the flow. And similar way, we have another action which is connected with the get product list. Okay, so I'm going to select this from the library because we need to show the Apex action from the scratch. So I'm not wasting time here. So the flow action, I'm selecting the product list, right? Get product list. This is again the flow, and I'm just selecting it. It will add this to that topic, and we already made an instruction saying that these two actions should be executed one by one, right? Under the instruction, we mentioned that first it will enter the email address, it will go into the identify customer by email action, and then it find a customer, then it will go into that get product list and it will fetch out the product names. So now we have two actions. Now it's time for the third action, which is our Apex class, right? So that class is responsible for creating order with the product. Okay, so I'll show you the class first. So I've written the class already before this demo, right? So we have to define the label here, which is the important thing, and also the description. Those two things are generally we are not doing in any of other classes, but here it is important because this name will see in the while we are building a action. This is the identifier basically, and the description it will match to identify the entire class. Based on the description, it will identify the method. And also we have to mention this is an invocable method, right? So once we mention this is our method where it takes the order request in as a parameter. and it will return the order responses, right? So what is order request and order response is nothing but our input parameter and output parameter, right? So to process this, we need the contact ID. That is required because we have to create a order under certain record, right? Under the context record or under the from the contact, we'll identify the account and we'll create the order under that account. So that's why the contact ID is input parameter that is required. Product name also we need to enter the product and also the quantity and also the product ID, right? So once we fetch the product names using that flow, it will give us the product IDs as well. And we'll use that here to uh, create an order as an input parameter. The output parameter is our account ID, ID, order number, and status, right? So the status is if the order creation is succeed or it is failed. So for that reason, we are passing this status message. I mean, we are throwing back this status message using the response parameter. And also the order number, we have to show that to the customer that order has been created successfully. And account ID and order ID is not required to be shown in the output panel, but we need it for our business logic to run, right? So this is the entire code. We'll put this code somewhere in the link or something in the channel or somewhere, but this is the code. It is pretty simple, not too much complicated. We have input and output parameters, and this is our logic to create an order. We have to fetch the price book entry and all this, and then we are creating order here with the new order item. Okay, so order item is nothing but our quantity and the product. Okay, so now we are adding this Apex class to our actions. So if I go back in one of in the topics, right? And since this third one is our action to the Apex class, which says that we have to pass this entire information that we got from the previous actions, and we have to pass it to the create order with the product. We need to create a new action, right? So I'm not going to add this from the library, but I'm going to create it from the scratch. So here I'm creating a new action, and then we have to define what type of action it is, right? So we have four types of action we can define. It is Apex API flow. Already we have connected two flows and prompt template, right? So for this particular scenario, we are taking Apex and then it will ask for the category. So it is on invocable methods. We are not going with the REST part or Apex REST for now. Uh, so our uh, Apex class is based on the invocable methods, right? So we are selecting invocable methods. And here we have to mention whatever the name of that method identifier, right? So if you observe, right, this is the label. So it will show this label when we try to fetch this Apex class method inside the reference section, right? So order with product, right? Create order with product. This is our action name. It will ask us to provide the action labels. So I'm just adding a unique name here because it might be already created. So this action I'm creating new for this particular topic. Okay, it doesn't matter it is already there or not. I'm creating a new one. So when I click on next, it will ask me to provide the instruction. Again, this is create an order for the context account and adds the selected product. So if you see this instruction is matching with the description of the Apex class, right? So it should match ideally. And then the loading text again, I would say please wait. So it will show this text while loading the data or while conversation, and then it auto selects the input and output parameters, and it will map these instructions also, right? So for contact ID, if I go back into the Apex class, for contact ID I mentioned the description is equal to contact ID. So you can mention whatever the description you want, but it will ideally match here, and we should check verify that as well. Now the data types is the record ID type, right? So we cannot change this. But these are again two important things as we did in the flow also, right? If you want this as a required input, we have to select this. If we want this data to be collected from the user, we have to select. So contact ID, obviously, we are not going to collect from the user. It is being retrieved from the email address, right? So, and also it is required parameter. So I'm just selecting the required input. Here also the product ID is required, but we are not selecting it from the user. From the user, we are selecting is the product name, right? We are not selecting the ID because user won't know the product name ID of the product. Rather, they will know the name of the product, right? So product name, obviously, we are requiring this input from the user, and I mean it is a required input, and also we are collecting it from the user. Okay, and this quantity again, we need it as a required, and we should select it from the user, right? Because we don't know, I mean, any of the flow or any of the previous implementation on this topic, we never know how much quantities it should be, right? So it is obviously a user input. And then for the output side also, we are if we want to filter anything from this action, we can select this checkbox, or if we want to show it in the conversation account ID, obviously we are not showing it. Message we want to show because we want to show whether order creation is successful or failed. So that we are selecting. Order ID, we are not going to select it. It's a 15 or 18 digit Salesforce ID. So it is not part of the conversation ideally. Order number should be part of the conversation because we want to show as output that this order ID has been created for that user, right? So I'm selecting show in the conversation. The type we can select text or rich text. If it is a links or cards or something, we can select rich text as well. And then I click on finish. So that will create my new action. Okay, so I built that action from the scratch. I've connected with the Apex class. I've configured input output parameters, and I've provided the instruction of the action as well. So now my entire agent is ready to work on. I have configured the instruction one by one. I have mentioned the what sequence it should trigger those action, and uh, what manner it should pass one parameter or one output of the action to another output. And then also I have mentioned that it should ask for the quantity and all this. So this is pretty much ready now, and we are going to test it. Again, these two are the flow actions. This one is the apex action, and if I refresh the agent here, I'll put a place order, just a simple thing, right? Or create an order. And then my agent will execute these actions one by one. In the middle area, it will show how it is executing, what topic it is selecting, what action it is selecting, right? So this selected order creation one as a topic, this topic, right? Order creation. And then it has a three instruction, three actions. It start reasoning, it did something in the backend, and then it come up with this response saying that provide your email address. Okay, because we have mentioned in the instruction that ask the user for the email address. Okay, so it executed that. So now I'll put one of the email address of the contact ID. Okay, so I'll go here and find out one of them. uh, so let's go with Sophia as a contact who she's chatting right now. Okay, so she will provide her email address here, and then agent will start looking for next action, right? So once they provide an email address, it will ideally call out this identify customer by email action, and then it will list out the products. Okay, so now if you see, yeah, I'm not doing anything. Uh, if you see my cursor is here, but this is automatically happen, right? So it will do this input in JSON, right? This contact ID it found in the system based on the email address, because we have a flow actions that will return the contact ID, and then it output the output they sent as a JSON format again for all of the products, right? So whatever we mention to the agent, right? Identify the customer by email, and then get the product list if it find the customer, right? So this is what it is doing. It send us the list of the products, and then now we are going to place an order, right? So here it is asking that if you would like to order, just put the name of the product and the quantity, right? So I'm putting API sourcing as a product name, and I need four quantity of that, and I hit enter. So now our last action will be executed. It will do some reasoning here. It will go to this action, right? To create order with the product, where it will call our Apex class action, and it will place an order. And it will, since we have mentioned that and written the order number, right? It will return the order number here. If we specify any other things, right? Uh, Maybe if we can customize this message, right? Instead of this text, we can ask agent to, return few uh, other text or something. It will return the order number as well, as we mentioned. And now let's check this order is created or not. So I'll go with Sophia's account, Sophia's contact, and then her account. Under her account, ideally this order should be created, right? So if I go under this order number 18, whatever he said, we have placed this order, and it is created in the system with four quantity API sourcing as I selected as a product. So this is how it is working. Uh, if we go into the this entire conversation, right? This is how we can debug it, and this will show you the JSON, basically how it is executing the actions one by one, and all this. If there is any issues uh, triggering this particular sequences, we can identify based on that. So that's how the agent is working. Now this is around Salesforce only, right? We did not move out for the Salesforce. So the question would be how this will work for the end users, right? So ideally, we are just testing it, or we are building a demo. So this is inside the Salesforce only, but once this agent is ready, we can activate it, and then we can deploy it to the certain channels, right? So there are a couple of channels we can deploy this agent. One is obviously the community, where we can deploy this agent using the embedded actions and all this. And another one is WhatsApp, Slack also, it is doable. So there are certain things that we need to take care for the deployment. If you walk through this entire Trailhead module, at the end, they are deploying this to the community site. Okay, so this is our community deployment, and I already built this in the community. I'll show you that as well. So on the community also, we have deployed this. It is not now, but yeah, previously we deployed. So this is our agent. Basically, on the front end side, to the end user, it is nothing but kind of a chatbot, right? So, but inside this chatbot, we are running the agent, and we are executing these topics and actions behind the scene once they start chatting from here. So this is how it is being deployed to uh, a certain community sites, or maybe your WhatsApp or Slack. So on the other end, the customer will maybe chat from the WhatsApp, and it can place order from the WhatsApp if we deploy that agent to the WhatsApp. So that's how it is working. I think that is all for demos of today. And if we talk about the next slide, which is consideration and best practices, so I would like to spend 2 more minutes on this to quickly walk you through the consideration while building agents. So, since it is autonomous, right, and it's not obviously human, right, we have to tell the certain things in a clear and defined way. So, we have to define the scope very clearly for agents' responsibility, the role and description, or whatever the fields that we saw, right. It is very important, and it should be, uh, you know, put in a way, maximum. Uh, it should be like, it should be placed in a way, right, that the agent can understand it based on the role of the agent. And then we should obviously we should put the instructions. This is very important field. So mostly while developing, we are keeping these instructions or description blank, but here not uh, the same case. We have to instead put this instruction and description uh, co- uh, very promptly, right? So they can understand it. We have to deploy before deployment, right? We have to test it thoroughly in the sandbox environments, and We have to monitor the performance. We have to give different prompts. We have to, so QA's job will be tough here, right? They have to they have to send multiple things in a different way and observe that how the agent is reacting. And then we have to refine, obviously, right, based on the output of certain prompts or certain things, how it is behaving. We have to iterate, and we have to try to make it more and more powerful and more accurate in terms of the real world use cases. And for best performance, Salesforce is asking to create only 15 actions under a topic, and I think 9 instructions in a topic. So that is one thing that we have to keep in mind. And versioning of agent is not supported. So right now we cannot do versioning as we do in the flows. It is not possible. And the session of the agent force is very specific to the browser tab, right? So if you refresh the browser tab or if you close out and open it again, it will wipe up everything. So if you provided your email address or certain information before, agent won't remember if you close or refresh the browser. So that's all for today. Thanks for joining with us, and we'll provide you the other details in the description for the Apex class and other thing. And we'll see you in next couple of sessions on some other exciting topic around the agent force. Thank you so much.